For a long time now, just about every poll in our area has ranked transportation and gridlock as one of the top voter concerns. And elections have consequences. And one of the changes in policy from the transition from Larry Hogan to Wes Moore seems to be in that area. Transurban has dropped out of the public-private partnership that would have extended those hot or high occupancy toll lanes from Virginia to Maryland. And some of the money would have been used to pay for American Legion Bridge improvements. Laurie, Governor Moore says he'll focus more on mass transit. Is he right, or was Governor Hogan's approach better?
Well, Hogan was business smart in that he looked at the data and saw that MDTOT was having shortfalls in their budget and in revenues. Ridership was continually going down. It was going down before COVID, and then COVID made it so much worse. Already half the budget in transportation goes to mass transit. So I think, Wes Moore is not, he's going off the road, so to speak, on the path that we were following. And I think that you can just look at Virginia, that their public-private partnership was very successful with their toll roads. It saved 10 million customers, more than 3.3 million hours on the road now, where they can be with their families at home. More businesses, more jobs, more money to invest in equity, so to speak, what do Democrats say they want, because now they're able to invest more in women and minority businesses. Cars are 97% of all travel. So what the heck are they doing when there's percentage-wise, most people are driving?
Well, you mentioned obviously a key statistic, which is the fact that so many people rely on their cars to get to work or to get from one place to another. Maricé, how can we encourage alternatives to driving in a car alone?
Absolutely, and this is absolutely a different. It's a matter of priorities, and so with the Moore administration, he has been very blunt about considering the environment and in our future on this earth. So it's really a cultural shift, getting more Americans to basically move closer to their positions of employment. It's not unknown for folks to be okay with an hour and a half of a commute. So it's going to take mass transit. It's going to take a cultural shift, and even just looking at what my generation, so millennials and young families, what they're doing is exactly that. We're looking for, and so it's more about housing and also the transportation in our roads, and people just making a sacrifice and saying maybe I won't have a huge house, and maybe I'll have a little bit a smaller plot of land, but it's going to get closer to where I work, and then I can commute. I can commute by bike. I can commute by a train or whatever. So I think it's really going to take a culture shift, but the key in seeing the shift in our culture is seeing what our elected officials are actually doing and prioritizing. So it's definitely a change from the Hogan administration, and that's to be expected. It's two different parties, two different sets of priorities there.
Well, Laurie, one of the changes that's being suggested by the Moore administration is MARC train expansion. And obviously that's the commuter rail that operates in Maryland, and their recommendation is to expand it into Virginia and into Delaware. That said, Laurie, public transportation ridership remains a long way from returning to pre-COVID levels. For example, with MARC train, it's still down 75%, less than 10,000 daily riders. Is this a permanent change, or can we expect a return to more public transit use?
Yeah, the Democrats need to get with the times, because they keep thinking we need mass transit all the time. But look what's happening with technology, and look what's happening with our cultural change, where I think 40% of the buildings are being used in New York City right now. There's people are not going to locations as much to work now. They're working from home, and they can pick wherever they want to live. We now have to compete with other states that aren't used to having a lot of people, and so things have changed, and Democrats are not in line with what's really happening. Imagine where old people who have trouble driving can have a car pick them up and drive them without a person driving. They won't have to drive. They don't need, that can happen where door-to-door service with energy efficient cars, small cars can drive wherever we want to go in a short amount of time. Things like that can happen, and we can stay away from traffic accidents by technology that exists today. So, that's what needs, I think we need to just start changing our thinking a little bit, especially the Democrats.
Well, when we come back from this short break, will Mark Elridge get his tax hike?